Welcome back to Rotten Rust Garage. And this weekend, I'm gonna try and get a whole bunch of stuff done. Some of it on camera, some of it off. Continuing with cleaning the engine bay, yeah, that's one thing off camera. But more importantly, as I mentioned in a previous video, I'm gonna swap the tail shaft of those 727 transmissions that I think it was maybe 2 videos ago when I took the 904 transmission out. So I'm gonna mess with that and see how that goes. We'll see how that works. That's not something I've ever done before. Maybe it'll be sketchy, maybe not. Also gonna start ripping the front drums off of the car and digging into all that. Saw me taking the brake lines apart last week, so this week just gonna keep getting after it, making progress and seeing how far I can get. If there's transmission fluid in this thing, there's no dipstick, so I'm probably gonna make a huge mess, but let's get this thing off of here. Not the right bolt. Not the right bolt. Hardware store. Yeah. Good reason why this thing's been sitting around. I don't even remember where I got this transmission from. Yeah, lots of goofy. That's a screw. Nut. Oh man. Yeah. All right. Oh man, they were really, really loose. This thing is very questionable. Oh, it's gonna go everywhere, right? Hell, maybe there's no fluid in it. I don't know. We'll find out here in just a short second. Yep, there's plenty of fluid in it. All right, well, we're gonna let this drain for a little while, then stand it up and pull the speedo out of there, speedo gear, and I guess under here. Yep, take this plate off, and I believe there's a snap ring in there. We're gonna find out. Get that off of there, then should be able to unbolt it and slide it off. Give it a shot. All right, this one's definitely got a lot of nasty stuff up in here. A lot of crunchies mixed in with the clutch material. Lots of little debris and stuff, but the dipstick tube's been missing when I got it, and somebody put like a plug in there with a bolt, like one of the expandable rubber plugs. Doesn't matter. Again, I don't have this transmission. I have any use for it right now. Someday maybe. So all I'm going to do now that the fluid's all out, I'm going to pop this back on there, and mostly out of it, and stand it up. All right, well, camera died. Back going again. Pulled the bolts out of the bottom, and I'm pretty sure all I gotta do is spread this snap ring, but it's kind of not doing its thing. I don't have a good set of snap ring pliers. This should just pull up, but it doesn't want to. So maybe I don't have that snap ring spread far enough. I think I'm getting under it. It seems, oh yeah, it's spread out. It should come right up. That is the maximum I can spread it in that slot. Can only go so far because that slotted hole. but just doesn't seem like it's gone far enough. Yeah, my pliers only go so wide. Maybe if I try this bigger set, I don't know if they'll even fit in there. Nope. There it goes. Shoosh. I know you're probably laughing at me, all you transmission guys. I'm not a transmission guy, but there's that. Can you see? I don't know. Let me see if you can see down in there, right? About in this area. There's that snap ring. It's off of there. And that's what I need. Just all that for these two little guys. Now I got to repeat it on the other transmission. And I care more about that one than this one. This guy right here. Got to go back up into this slot and kick this sprag down to get into this right here. I think maybe it's at the parking brake. Hey, it is. I guess when this is all the way out, it pushes this guy out like that, locks this sprag, whatever it's called, and you're in park. Pretty cool. I'd like to rebuild this, man. This would be a good test bed for me to learn to rebuild a transmission. Get all the clutches, get all, you know, the stuff, and maybe a book, something. Because I don't have the first clue on an automatic transmission, but I know people do it all the time. Be a good skill to have, wouldn't it? Okay, now I'm going to shut the camera off for a little bit, and I'm going to really clean this thing good. And then I'll be back with you, and I'll pop the other one off. Stay tuned. Okay, here we go. Let's get this thing apart now. Speedo cable gear. Wow, this transmission is so dirty still. I thought I cleaned it some. All right. Woof. That one wasn't even tight. I don't have this gasket. Good, that one stayed. What do we got here? Same scenario. All right, let's get all these bolts off. Wow, they're on there. Jeez Louise. All right, all right. Can't do this the hard way. Jeez. Holy cow. All right, stand by. Yeah, there's factory Loctite on this and a ground strap. Get this out of the way. All right. That's the way it goes. I turn the camera off to save some embarrassment and try it again, and it came right out that time. I don't know what I did different. Clean it up. A couple of videos ago when I dropped the pan off of this, I was like, oh, there's some weird like little pieces of plastic in here. Where did that come from? It's the teeth off of this. They're chunked off in places, a lot of places, and that's what was down in the pan. Not going to put this gear back in. I'll put this one in, and I'll be honest, I've never changed a speedo gear before. I've always just run with the speedometer incorrect for the rear end, you know. Maybe it's set up for like a 323 and you're running like a, I don't know, 391 or something like that. And this is like on an eccentric, so I don't know how to clock this in there properly. Maybe it doesn't require anything like that. Maybe just you slide it in and you're done. But it seems to be like kind of clocked. So I'm going to discover on that a little bit before I do anything damaging. And yes, somebody put RTV all around this O-ring, meaning this O-ring has failed. Yep, it's flat. So I need a new O-ring anyway. All that's got to be done before this goes in the car. So cool. Let's see how badly I can mangle putting this back together, huh? Yep, that all looks pretty much like it should go on there, about like that. Hey, cool. All right. Well, let's see if I can wrangle this joker on here. All right. Here goes nothing. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure this rod goes up into its happy place, which is at the center of the bottom of this. That looks good. Okay, well, as soon as I started messing with it, of course, the battery on the camera died, which it does several times a day. That's why I have multiple batteries, because GoPro batteries are not good. And I bought Chinesium better batteries, but it won't use them. So that was a waste of money. Anyway, as soon as it stopped and died, I held my jaw just right, got the shifter plunger in the right position, got it clicked into the park locking sprag jaw, whatever you call it, thing that I have no idea, and held open the clip, jiggled on it, held my jaw just right till it finally dropped down into place. Not quite as simple as I thought it was going to be, but ultimately not overly complex. The clip there, once you get it set down, it was still kind of spread. In order to get it to sit down into that bearing, you just kind of go in here and pry, get a screwdriver, just pry up on the bearing a little bit, and it went pop, snapped right into place. And just to make sure you can rotate it back and forth. This cover off of the old tail housing here still has somewhat of a gasket on it. I do need to get another one of these, but for now, this is going to go back on there. And we're going to call that good. Got the gasket all lined up, started these bolts. Run them down. Tell you what, trying to break these free, they sure didn't feel like 25 foot-pounds. They felt a lot more like 150 foot-pounds. But that's that Loctite in there. All right, I'm going to hand tighten them the rest of the way. Yeah, that'll be done. But hey, but yeah, my shifter, the parking gear does work again. And I'll just pop in the old, this speedo gear off of this tail housing, because I don't want the other junky one in there. And then I'll have to eventually take it back out and get the correct one for whatever rear end I end up with. Because again, as I already mentioned, I want to get a big pinion rear end with a little better gearing, you know, 3.5 or better, maybe 354. I don't want to get too crazy, too tall. I want to be able to go on the highway, down the road, and that's something that I address early and not have to worry about it later. That way I can get the drive shaft made, etc. So, all right, that'll do it for this. All right, I guess it's time to get this thing up in the air so I can get the front tires off of it. and start making some progress here. Get some jack stands under it. Get the back in the air. Anyway, getting it up in the air, I'll be able to get the exhaust out from under it. I'll be able to get a closer look at that rear end, pull the rear tires off, get the rear axles out, drop the center section out, all that good stuff. Now I'm going to jack up the rear end. Oh boy. Are these left-handed thread? 1960s, who knows? Looks like one's already been snapped off, possibly. Yep, left-handed thread. Righty-loosey. Man. I really... I think I'm gonna undo that goofiness. All right. Out you go. Oh, wait, these are lefty-loosey. Get out of here. Ah. What is going on? Maybe somebody swapped in a different rear end. Who knows, man? This car is so messed with. Who knows? These should be lefty-loosey. Yep. I do not like these kinds of lugs that fit down inside with the stud, you know, barely sticking out. Man, it doesn't fit in there very well to begin with. This is terrible. Look at how wallered out these are. Well, obviously these rims aren't, that's just insane. Like they've been hogged on to fit this car. How much you want to bet? Goodness. I like the 60-degree conical that helps center the wheel. I mean, obviously once this goes through, it should center the wheel, but I don't like that setup. And these have definitely been messed with to fit this car. Cool rims and all, but not going back on the car. It says Rocket. I don't know if that's just the center cap or the brand of wheel or whatever. They're cool, but nope, not going back on the car. So now we can get a decent look at the, whoa, that's cool. I don't know what this is all about. Somebody out there, please tell me why there's a spring around this drum. Cool. Should get a flashlight where we can really see all the garbage up in there. Just in here to bust these brake lines free. And this thing is T-rashed. But not hearing the brake dragging on there. So I'm guessing, it sounds like I hear springs clicking around in there like broken free, but we're gonna find out all about that. All this is gonna come off for a disc brake kit. Okay, here's the passenger side. Got a flashlight. Get you in there closer, and you can see just how messed up and rotted the end of this brake line is. The actual line itself, forget about the spring around it, the protection. So, and you can see lots of grease have been using that upper ball joint. Yeah, those bushings are shot up in there. Those are also shot, I'm sure, but they're not split like that front one. And yeah, I mentioned in a couple of videos ago about the sway bar bushings. They could have been replaced on. Unlikely, but no splits in them. It's pretty good. A little bit of rust up here on the bumper frame, but that's okay. Clean all that up while I'm in here, get all the road debris off of here, and get ready to take all apart and get the shock out of there. get these brake lines out and get this drum off. See if this one has any. Oh, hang on, that's got lots of brake shoe on it. At one point, and then it breaks free. Also has this crazy spring on it. Don't know what the heck that's all about. Man, I have never seen anything like that on a drum. You got me. So whatever. It's coming off of here. Now you can see why I'm buying all new brake lines. Golly. All right. She has not ever been off of there. One down. Okay, a couple things over here on the driver's side. This panel's got to come off because the brake line goes through it, and I might be able to finagle it away without that. The access panel for this rear, the rear adjustment bolt for the upper control arm on that cammed bolt. That pad is missing, but a lot of the little clips are still there. Piece of the pad still hanging out. On this side, it goes on the outside, it looks like. On the other side, it looks like it on the inside. This panel, somebody's got a flathead screw in there, just shot it with PB. That will probably not come out. This is going to get interesting, just to say the least. This is a bolt. This one's missing, and there's some sort of 3/8 or 7/16 hardware there. So I'm going to see if I can drop that thing out of there, but I might just let it soak for a minute and then actually throw some heat to it for a minute just to make sure I get that out of the frame. Don't know if it's like a recessed, like a welded nut on the other side of this, or if it's just threaded into the frame steel. Probably just threaded into the frame steel, but let's see what happens. Oh, please come out of there. Yay! Maybe. Oh, hey, maybe. Oh, yeah. Just a random screw. Well, that one was already loose. Is it coming out though? Yeah, she's backing out of there. Now what's this? Where's this other one? You probably can't see this, can you? It's way up in there, man. Please, please. Oh, hey. Man, that one was nice and loose. The only thing tight was that stupid screw. So I looked on the other side of the car up underneath the frame rail, and I see no provision for any bolts going into the underside of that frame rail that would be equivalent to this. So I can only imagine this is just to, I don't know, protect the brake distribution block, or maybe, I don't know. But I'm gonna keep on it, and I'm gonna clean it up real good. And that's what the bolt should look like. That one's pretty rotted. Get some new hardware for it. Okay, that's out. guys are out of the way. Now for this brake line. Yeah, it's just gonna snap as well. Well, that's a step in the right direction. I think it just rounded. Yeah. Just rounded off. Nothing comes out of there. These things are so seized up, dry rotted, they are rock solid. So that's that. All right, that's out of the way. Now I got a lot of cleaning to do in here. Eventually got to get these drums off the spindle, start separating it all. Oh, great. That's super. This thing is smoked. Yep. That plastic didn't stand the test of time. This thing is gonna be interesting. Bearings feel good, but just the tiniest bit of brake drag on there. Now the kit that I'm getting is gonna come with new lower spindles. They do make kits that use these drum brake spindles. Is that wrapped around another way or just missing? Nope, just missing. And so I'm anxious to get those here, see what comes of it. Looks like a nice kit. Well, I've already gouged into myself with well, they've got grease on them. I mean, what more do you want? Seal's still good. Okay. Other than the A4 now, so okay, so somebody's rebuilt on these. See the new hardware? And it weren't this guy. I can tell you it wasn't me. This stuff hasn't even got rust on it. All this hardware. Yeah, this is seized up. The adjuster. Oh yeah, it's totally seized up. All this new shiny stuff. Even a new wheel cylinder. But old soft brake lines. None of that makes a lot of sense. And hang on also, I think this shorter shoe, does it go, I think it goes to the front. I gotta pull all this off of here, get all these bolts off to free it up. Get it off this lower ball joint here. That's the big daddies. I need to start soaking that down like today. Put on in the factory, probably never been off. Okay. Yeah, these are brand new shoes, all brand new springs. I mean, all the paint's on them, and this car has sat for, well, since I've owned it, and probably before that. I wonder if the guy that I bought it from did all this. Now this was way out of adjustment. I just broke it free with some PB Blaster, so it's gonna move. But somebody redid it all. And but yeah, not replacing this does not make sense. That thing's in really bad shape, and I guarantee it's swollen shut. So all right, well, I'm gonna get after taking all this off of here. All right, let me undo all this. There we go. All right, now the little guy here. off of there. You're off of there. There we go. This comes off. There we go. How are you on there? Come on to your happy place. Okay. And this guy. Now I got a brake tool somewhere that does this a little easier on these pins. This might work. Ooh, hey! Like butter. This guy. I'm gonna save on all this, you know? That's free now. Yeah, this stuff is all new, man. That is wild. Let's keep all of this together. And wow, that is rotted on the back though. The bleeder. That's probably why this is on there. These posts look new, but this looks really crappy and old. Alright, there's one. I gotta turn the steering back the other way to get to the other one and get these other two right here off. I might as well try and take this one off while I'm here. What size is that? Feels like 11/16. Yeah, that's hot. All right. One side. Now spin the wheel the other way and get it again. All right, well, I spent a while off camera trying to degrease some of this so a socket will actually fit, as well as getting the cotter pins out. I don't know, just keep going after it until this socket goes on there. All the way. All right, well, what you know it, the sway bar's in the way of getting a socket on there. And it has to be deep well. Golly, can I turn this wheel just a little bit further? Let's see. That's all it took. All right, let's see if I can get this one off. All else fails, get a 24-inch breaker bar. God, that's terrible. Get in there, lube. Do your thing. if the impact will do it this time. I gotta get this top one out of here. All right, I gotta figure this top one out. All right, let's let that soak for a minute. It's gotta come out of there at some point. It's just seized up in there, that's all. All right, last one's off of there. No gasket. Okay, we good. There's your upper, well, there's the control arm, then the lower ball joint. This upper ball joint feels pretty, oh yeah, that's loose as a goose. We're gonna swap on that. That's gonna be a pain to get off of there. All right, so I still got to pull the cotter pin, get this nut off of the ball joint, separate this top portion of the spindle from the upper control arm. I might even slide these bolts back through the lower. I should have probably put a jack under it to keep these together. That would have probably helped me a little bit. Live and learn. Oh well. Been a long time since I worked on anything like this. A lot of years. So it's coming back to me a little bit. But and you know, I'll have to give some strong consideration to go ahead and replace in the lower ball joint as well, since it's all apart. You know, but then you get into task creep, like, hey, maybe I should just replace this stamped upper control arm with a nice tubular one or something. Yeah, just where does it end? I do want to replace on these sway bar end link bushings. They're getting pretty shot. So while I'm here, assuming I don't destroy this link, getting the nuts off, you know, just boop, pop in some new bushings. That'd be a real easy one. So until tomorrow, I'll be back. Well, good morning. It's the next day. I'm going to wrap up some things over here on the passenger side, like maybe getting this old shock out of here. Going to attempt to get this ball joint spun out of this upper control arm. Yesterday afternoon, after I stopped with the camera, I went ahead and took the pickle fork and knocked the upper ball joint out. It came out pretty easy. Actually, the hardest part was getting the cotter pin out of the castle nut. Knocked that ball joint free of the spindle, got the spindle out of the way. A lot of grime and grease in here, so gonna probably, if I can, hopefully get this upper ball joint out and just do some cleaning, get the shock out of the way, and you know, spritz it up a little bit, and then move to the other side and repeat all of that. Alright, she's a little warm. Use the old smoke wrench on it. Very floppy. That's why it's coming out. Very floppy. It did have grease in it, but man, is it loose as a goose. So, yeah, real notchy as well. So, yeah, swap that out. 26 bucks. And now I can get a little better cleaning on this upper control arm, get all these threads cleaned up real good. Alright. Now for the shock absorber. Wow, that's so there's no way to get to the back, the nut on this side at all with this sway bar in here. So the sway bar's got to be dropped. It just keeps getting more fun. Well, let's get going. What size are you? Little tiny feller. Alright. I soaked these down last night, but it never hurts to throw some heat on them. Okay, and I'm probably gonna end up needing vice grips to hold the post. You know, it doesn't matter having to pop this off. It's just a little bit of an inconvenience, but I need to take it off anyway because I want to replace these bushings on this link arm. All right, well, one of them is going to come off. Turns out it's the top one. I doubt I can hold it with this, but we're going to try anyway. Probably going to need some vice grips. Yep. Vice grips it is. Throw some more heat on it. I like butter. Now I'm gonna have to go to the other side and do that one real quick, so this sway bar will drop out of my way. I'll get this link out. Almost an inch thick bar. Oh God, now I gotta hit the other side. All right, I'll be back in a little while. All right, now with the sway bar out of the way, I can actually get my socket on this shock. And let's see what we can do to get this nut off of here. Get it started coming free. Then go up top and pull that nut. Oh my goodness, that joker is on there. Ah. All right. Okay, I just busted free the little skinny little jam nut from the stud. Of course, if I spin this, it's just gonna twist the whole shock stud. Yeah, so gotta find a little guy that fits the top of this. How about you? I'm gonna use the all 16ths here before I go to the vice grips. All right, it's coming free, but I'm gonna be here a while, so wish me luck. All right, the shock absorber's out, got it soaking down with degreaser over here, and I'm gonna clean on that a little bit more in a little while, but next I gotta move over to the other side and repeat that. And if you were wondering about the shock, well, there you go. She's ancient. It's got a weird green color to it. But yeah, it's shot. Cool. That's a difficult task to get that thing out of there with a sway bar, but yeah, I'm gonna do it now. All right, well, I spent about an hour, hour and a half, and I got this side disassembled now. Couple of quick things. Obviously, I'm going to do a little more cleaning in here, degreasing primarily, so I can spritz paint on all the little rusty spots. But that upper ball joint on a Mopar is going to take a special socket, and you're going to want that because there's really no other way that I know of to get that thing off of there. It's a four-sided socket. I got this many years ago, and I think it was pretty expensive when I got it, but you're going to want one of those if you're doing an upper ball joint. I'm replacing the upper ball joints because I hammered on them and heated them, and they're pretty loose. The bottom ones aren't great, but they're gonna do for now. I'm gonna rebuild this entire front suspension next winter when the engine comes out to get built. I'll drop everything, K-frame, torsion bars, everything out of here. Redo the control arm bushing, everything. All new ball joints, probably with the exception of the top one.
But really, like, the biggest fight for all this, getting it apart, is just pulling out cotter pins or finding them, you know, under a 1/4 inch of grease. I had to dig this entire ball joint out. It was just a mountain of road debris and grease. So it's a task, and it's a little frustrating, but you know, getting it all clean will be really, really nice. Not only will it look better, but it's just going to be easier to service and work on, get under there and put grease on it. So that's going to do it for this. I'm going to keep cleaning and do some wire brushing off camera. All right, a couple things on the charger. This lower spindle bolt, when I was pulling it out on the passenger side, I noticed some ribbons of metal shavings coming off, and as I got it out of there, I realized that somewhere along the way, at some point, somebody has hammered the end of this horribly bad. It got gacked into and bulged out the threads, kind of mushroomed the end of it, and wow. So that did a number on that bolt. I've spent, you know, a good 45 seconds online seeing if I could locate another one of these, and I don't know if that's going to be possible. So what I just ended up doing was buying a tap and a die, because obviously the nut got, you know, the thread's a little, let's say, turned down, because well, the impact pulled that thing right off of there, even through those gacked up threads. But the ribbons that I was seeing are probably from the inside of this nut, so that's no good, but we'll get that sorted out. Now the other thing, these sway bar end links, right? I think, well, they're in pretty good shape. No. Well, obviously the bushings are gone, but this is what's important to look at. That's where the water sits against the rubber of the bushing, and that one's seized on there. I try and pry that off, but as you can see, we're missing a lot of metal there. So this is an impending failure at some point. So I'm going to see if I can find new ones of these. I don't know, man. Maybe they're easy to find. It's kind of surprising. I have noticed, looking up parts for this car, I guess because they are popular, there is typically a good availability on something like this. Hopefully I can find that. Now this, on the other hand, I don't know. I'm going to try and fix this one. I got a tap and a die. It's like $22 for that single, because I can't remember this thread count. What was it? 5/8 18, I believe. So anyway, just an update on that. All right, well, that's going to do it for this weekend's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next weekend. Got some other stuff to do. Got a bunch of parts to order and wait for them to come in, things like that. So looking forward to seeing you again. Hope you're having a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.